We're now going to be adding our visual brand to our website. So last week we created our logos and our colors, so we need to get those ready to be uploading to create the visual brand for our website. So the first thing we need to do is to log into our WordPress dashboard if you already haven't logged in. Again, if you're having trouble logging into your WordPress backend, just let me know and I'll help you out with that. So once you've landed here on your dashboard, we want to come all the way down to the Divi tab, and we want to go into the Divi theme options. So click on that one. When we've landed on the Divi themes options tab area, we want to be in the general tab, so make sure that one is clicked. Now here we have our logo and our favicon. So this logo will be uploaded from our computer, so you need to go in and find that, but this logo will be on the navigation bar at the top of our website. So that's where it will be placed. So let's go in and choose our logo. So I'm going to upload my logo from my files. Again, remembering to add an alternate text and a description, just so that Google can find out what that image is all about and make it relevant in search results. Now the next thing that you want to do is you want to upload your favicon. Now the favicon is the little icon that sits up in here on the browser bar. So if you haven't already, you can go into Canva and create a favicon in Canva. So I'm going to upload the favicon, and I think I'll leave it as this one. So you've uploaded your logo, you've uploaded your favicon. Now we're just going to go down and deselect and select different elements in here. So we're going to leave the fixed navigation bar. We're going to enable the Divi gallery. We're not going to be enabling any of these at the moment, so just leave those ones. We're going to be leaving the Google Maps, which is something great if you want to eventually add Google Maps into the Divi theme. Now I'm going to disable Twitter and the Google icon and the RSS because this business won't be using those, but they will be using Facebook, so we've left that one enabled. Now this Facebook icon will be placed at the bottom of your website in the footer. When you know, or when you have built your Facebook page, this is where you would put the URL for this Facebook page. So I'm going to go in and get that URL of this business. And I'm going to leave these ones blank because he doesn't have those. Now these are just, I'm just going to leave in their default number setting. I'm going to enable the back to the top button. I think this is handy if you have quite a long scrolling page and people want to just jump quickly to the top of your page. I'm also going to enable smooth scrolling, which means when people scroll down with their mouse, it's nice and smooth. And then I'm just going to leave the remaining. Make sure you also save the changes. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to go in and just briefly enter our Pages tab. So we're going to create a test page just so we can add our branding for our fonts and our colors. So from your dashboard again, go and find a bit further up near the top this tab called Pages. Now this section is where we will be creating our home page, our about page and our contact page. At present, Bluehost has already inserted these 3 pages. So we're just going to leave those for now, and we're going to create a new page. And how you do that is at the top, just here you can click new page, or over here you can also click new page. So let's add a new page. And we're going to be calling it test page. Now in a moment you'll see this use the Divi Builder button pop up, so you need to wait for that to install. The old and without the Divi Builder, you would have just been entering all of your content into this text editor, so that it's very limited on how much styling you can do. But because we now have the Divi theme and the Divi Builder inserted, we're going to be using the Divi Builder. So I want you to click on this, and now there will be two buttons that you will see, which is use the default editor, which was the previous editor, which we will not be using, and then another button called use the visual builder, which we will be learning a little bit more about later. Now when we clicked on the Divi Builder button, this has now popped up into our bar. So what you can see, this is the Divi Builder section, and in here we have the big blue section around the outside, the smaller green row, and then we have the column section. And in the column section we will be inserting different formats of columns, whether it be 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, or 4 columns. So for now we're going to be inserting just 2 columns. So let's click on this insert columns, and it will bring up the different kinds of columns that you can use. So this is a full width of the page. This is 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns, 2/3 of the page with 2 columns and 1/3. So we're going to be using just this one here. And then what happens after you've inserted your 2 columns, as you can see here, 1, 2 columns, it now says insert modules. So what we're wanting to be doing is going in and finding the Divi modules that we want to be using. This is where Divi is really great. It's created lots and lots of modules that we can import. So let's click on the modules. And here is our module section. So you can see all the different modules that you can choose from. They're all in alphabetical order. So the module that we're wanting to be inserting in here is just called the text module. So we want to go down to the T area and find this module, text. This module just allows you to enter text like you normally would with a text editor. So after you select the text module, it will now pop up with this module text setting. So here you can see that it says content, and it brings up a similar editor that you're probably familiar with, where you can bold and italic and dot format and link and all the things that you can do usually with a text editor. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding some text into this area, and what we're going to be doing is adding this is my heading, and this is my body text. So here I want to now make this a heading font, so why not just select that and here add it as heading 1. The next thing I want to do is make sure this is selected in as paragraph, and it is already. So that's fine. So I've got my heading 1 selected there. Now once you've done that, you just want to save and exit. Then we want to be inserting another module. So click on this one. Again, it brings up the module areas, and we want to be inserting a button. So we're wanting to customize our buttons and our text to make sure they're right. So what I did was I went in and selected, let me show you that again, into the module area and selected the button module, and it brings up this button module area. Now here, this is where we just want to add test button, because what we're doing at the moment is we are adding our visual brand, so adding our fonts and colors. In the future, when you add a button, you'd be adding your button title there and the link where the button will go. But for now, we're just going to put a hashtag there because we don't want it to go anywhere. And then we're going to save and exit. Now, once we've added the text module and the button module, We now want to go up and we want to publish that page. So on the right hand side at the top, you'll see the big button, blue button, publish. So we want to click that one. After it's published, you'll see an update button. So in the future, you'll just be updating that page. So now we want to head back out, and now we want to go in and we want to add the visual brand. So we want to go in and find our theme customizer. Now to get into our theme customizer, we need to go back down to the Divi tab and up to the theme customizer. So we click on that one. Now this is our theme customizer area where it brings up the different elements on our page. Now at the moment it's just bringing up this weird looking element. There's the little logo that I inserted, and I want to go in and I want to select from the navigation drop down bar the test page. So let's click on that. You have landed on your home page and you can't figure out where to find the test page. So over here, if you click on the up down menu bar, or if you're in full width, which you probably will be, it should be up here. If you cannot see that link, then we need to go and add it to your menu, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So go back out into your WordPress dashboard, and on the left hand side scroll all the way down until you see the appearance tab and click on that. Now it will bring up, oh it's being a bit silly, it will bring up all these drop down. So go into the menu drop down, and then this will bring you into your menu area. So at present it hasn't got any menus created, it's just created a generic menu. To create a new menu, let's go and create a new menu, and let's add it the name main menu. And now we can add your test page into that. So let's click on the test page and the home page and add that to your menu. So here you can see your test page has come up and the home page has come up. So I'm just going to move that one up so it looks a bit better. So now it's got your test page inserted in the main menu, and we're going to make this the primary menu. So click on the primary menu and click save. So now that that menu has been saved, we should be able to see that in your customizer. So we're going to go all the way down to Divi and theme customizer, and we've landed on the home page, but you should be able to see that test page. So click on that one, and now it will bring up this. If you still can't see it, there is another way of bringing it up. So let's go back out to the WordPress dashboard and go down into settings and reading. And you need to make sure that this is selected, a static page, and that this home page is selected, and then come back down and save changes. Now when you go into the Divi theme customizer, you will be able to see your test page there. So remember the test page that we created before, we created the text, this is my heading and this is my body ellipsis, and then the test button. Now this page is probably a little bit small, so I'm just going to enlarge it so that you can see what it would look like more on a larger screen. And here we go, there's this is my heading, then this is my body text, and this is my button. So this is what we're going to be customizing. So to get into these settings, we need to go into general settings and then into site identity. And in here, we're going to be just filling in these details, but we also want to add our site icon in here, which is another favicon that will be inserted at the top here. So I'm going to select that seed again. And if you haven't created a favicon yet, it's just a little symbol that sits up in the top to represent your brand. And you can create one in Canva, just like you did create your logo. You can use the same icon, remove the font, and then save that as your favicon. So that's how it will appear at the top of the browser bar. So now that one has been inserted, all you need to do is publish, and then click this arrow to get back out to this area. The next thing that we're going to be going into is the typography setting. So let's click on that. And this brings up all of your default fonts that we can change. So you can change the size of your body font. So see how that's increasing as I move it up and down. And then you can increase the line height, so the distance between your font. You can increase your header text size, so it's getting larger and smaller. You can increase the header letter spacing, so you can make it stretch out a bit more. And also the line height, which will be between if you have 2 lines of headings. You can also then increase the font style, so it can be bold, italic, capitalized. So I could have it all capitalized or all underlined as my heading. Now, just here, this is where we are going to add our header font and our body font. So this may take a while for you to choose. So for choosing a font for the brand that I'm creating, I'm wanting to find a font that is quite modern. Now, unfortunately, this isn't loading what the fonts look like. There's over 800 different fonts, but it doesn't show up the variety of fonts. So the best way to see them is these are actually all Google fonts that they've installed into the Divi theme. So what we need to do is we need to go into Google Fonts. So to do that, you just type in fonts.google.com and it will come up with this Google Fonts page. And you can look through all of these fonts to figure out which one you like. So over here on the right hand side, you can choose and sort by certain fonts. So for me, I want to have quite a contemporary thin header. So I'm going to go for a sans serif. So remember, that's the one with no feet. And I want it to be a little bit thinner. So I'm going to go like that. And that will start to filter down some of the fonts. So if you want to have the more cursive handwritten font, you can select that. If you want to have the more display, like decorative fonts, you can select that. So these traditional and the sans serif are the ones you want to be using for your body. Remember, so we'll have a look at those. But for the moment, I'm just looking for heading. So I'm just going to add a heading here. As an example for a heading. And I can actually apply that to all fonts so I can get a good look of what it would look like. So take some time, pause the video and have a look through. When you figure out which font you like the look of, just write the heading down of that font and then you can go back in. So for example, if I like the look of this one, so I'm just going to write down that font and go back in to the Divi Builder customizer where my fonts are, and I'm going to search here for that one. So it started with Y. Scroll down and see if it's there. Yep, so here it is. So I'm going to select that for my heading font. So it just changed my heading font to that. I'm also going to make it capitals. Now this is not set in stone, you can come and change it because if you don't like the look of it. So now I'm going in and I'm going to go and look for a body font. So I want both sans serif for heading and text, but I might change my mind. So I'm going to head back in and I'm going to add some, I'm going to copy that in, paste that in and apply to all of my fonts. I'm also going to reduce the size to 16, apply to all fonts. So that will apply that to all of my fonts. And I'm also going to, doesn't need to be that thin. I've just deselected that one. Again, I'm going to just be looking at sans serif to see how I selected the serif and it changes it over to the serif looking. So back to the sans serif. These are the options that are coming up and it can take you a while. So again, pause the video and have a look. So for now, I'm going to select the railway. So I'm going to go back in and then look for that in here, and there we go. So I've selected my heading text and you can play around with that, so increase the spacing of the headings. So once you've come back and you've selected those, you can now come down and change the color of the heading and the body and the link. So the link means when you've highlighted something to link to another page or another article or blog, that will be the color of the font so people know to click on it. So I'm going to change the link color here to one of my branding colors, remembering that your brand colors you can find or determine in Canva. And I'm going to just make the text a little bit darker and my heading a little bit darker. Now again, you can come back and change those at a later date if you don't like them, or if you know once you've started building your site in the next modules and you think, oh, you know, I really like to change my heading or my body font, you can come back in and do that and it will change the entire site. So once you're happy with your heading and your body font, now you just need to publish that. And then let's head back out. And we're just going to go into layout setting. Now here you can change the theme color of your website, adjust the gutter, content width. I just leave these as default setting, but I will change the theme accent color because it might pop up throughout the site and I don't want a horrible bright blue that doesn't fit my brand. So again, I'm going to add my brand color and publish that to save. Now here it says enable box layout. That means that it pushes your website in, so you have a border around the outside of the website. This adds a nice effect and it makes the site a bit easier to read. But most modern sites are pushed out to the edges, so I'm just going to leave it pushed out to the edges, but I can change that later. The cool thing about enabling the box is that you can actually have an image all the way behind your site or a color all the way behind your site. But for now, I'm just going to leave that at full width. Now, once you're happy with your accent color, we're just going to exit back out there and we're going to go into the background area. Now before, when I said about pushing in the box and you had the background color, that's where that background color would be. So I'm just going to add background color of white. Now here you can add an image if you would like. So for example, let me just get back out. If I go into the site layout and click that boxed layout and then go into the background color, if I added a red color or a green color, that's where you will see that. Or if I was to add an image, that's where I would see that image. Again, every time you add an image, make sure you have the alternate text and the description. So see, you can see the big image behind there. But I'm not going to do that. You're more than welcome to. So I'm going to go back into the layout settings and disable that box just so it's the full width of my screen. So now we've looked at our site identity, the layout, the typography in the background. We're going to go in and we're going to customize our buttons. So to do that, you want to be in your WordPress dashboard, come back in through the Divi tab and the theme customizer. Let me show you again. So from your WordPress dashboard, you find the Divi tab down the very bottom, and then you go into the theme customizer. Now we're going to be styling our buttons. So from the customizing area, we want to head down to where it says buttons. Now again, it's taken me to the home page. So I want to go in and take myself down to the test page again, which is where we added our content to customize. So see how it's changed my button to be my accent color, which is great. So I really like the look of that. So let's actually, I'm probably going to leave it like that, but I'm going to change the background. But let's go in and I'll show you how to customize and style your buttons. So you just got to click on the button style, and here you can change your text size of your button. So you can make it smaller or larger. You can change your text color. So I might change it to be my brand color across the whole of the button, which you'll see. Text color. If I just make the text color white and then the background color, so that shows you how to make it a little bit different. So there I put the text color, so the font color is just white, and then I made the background color, which is the whole area that's filled in, as the brand color there. Now here you can make the border larger or smaller and make the color of the border, so I can just make it the same color. That way I can make my button a little bit larger or smaller. We'll also increase the button size with the text size. Now the border radius is the curve around the button, so you can make it fully curved around the button or no curve at all. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a curve, and again you can increase the spacing for the text or decrease it accordingly. And you can change the style of the font. You can make it bold, italic, capitalized, or underlined. But I'm going for a very simple button style. Now, the button font naturally takes on the font color you chose for your body font. So it's the same font as my body font. If you want to change the type of font, so say I wanted to put it as the same font as my heading, I could go down and find that same font that I used and change it over. So now it's changed over to that font type, but I'm going to change it back to the default, which was the same as my body font. Now, as you can see, when you hover over the button, there is an icon that comes up. So you can get rid of that icon if you want to. Now, when this happens, it just means it's thinking. So I've gotten rid of my icon, so it's no longer there. And my font has disappeared. This sometimes happens, I've noticed. And what I do, this sometimes happens when it's white. So what I do is I just add a 1 at the end, which makes it a little bit more off-white so you can see it again. So if you did want to add icon, you would have to go through and select whichever icon that you wanted and choose the color. When you're happy with how the button looks without hovering, then you can save that out, and then we're going to go in and adjust the hover style. So when I hover over it, you can't even see it. So I need to go in and adjust my hover style. So I'm going to save that and then go back to the button hover style. So here, when I hover over it with my mouse, it completely vanishes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it be just a border with the text. So I'm going to give the same text color as my brand color. So now when I hover over it, you can see that it comes up, the font color. But I'm going to put the border color same as this one. So now when I hover over it, it comes up with just the text and the border. Now the border radius, I'm going to drop back down to 2, which was the same as the other one. And I might make the background color. So see how it's still staying transparent? It's because this has been pulled down. So I'm going to push that all the way back up. And now it's become white. So if that's ever over a image, it will have a white background there with the font over the top. Again, you can adjust the button text spacing. So let's go like that. So when I hover over it, it makes it larger. When you're happy with your button and your button hover effect, you can then publish. Now, it will take you a while to get this right, and again, you can always change it later on. You can always come back and change those default settings. Another good thing about Divi is that when you're creating your pages and you want a button that's completely different, you can actually change that button there and then through the button module, and it won't affect all the other buttons on the site. You've now customized your font, your heading, your body font, and your text button. So this will be your font throughout your entire web page, and your text and your button throughout your entire web page. Again, though, you will be able to change these at any time by coming back here, and that will change the entire site. Or in the text module, in the Divi Builder, you can change certain elements on the actual page if you want it to be different in certain pages. There is a great resource that you can look at, which has been put together by the Divi theme, and you can link through on your workbook there. So that's the Divi Customizer documentation, and it will go through how to adjust all those colors and settings and font types. In the next modules, we'll be looking at setting up those pages and using the Divi Builder more. So make sure you get your wireframes finished for your layouts for your home page and your about page and your contact page. And also I'd recommend having a quick watch of this Divi Builder visual builder. So we'll see you on the next module.